And I guess we're live. Hey guys, this is Max from Winding Tree, and welcome to our monthly webinar AMA community call, whatever you want to call it. And thank you, of course, for watching it later if you're doing that. Today we have a few interesting questions, a lot of interesting developments that's been happening over the past 1 month. Yes, because we're doing it monthly. Logic Max. And let's start with our usual flow. And, of course, the first thing that I want to say every time, I thank you so much, guys, for your support, for your involvement. Sorry, I'm going to shut down these notifications over here so they don't distract us or me. Thank you guys for your support. Last month, we've been talking to a lot of you, to a lot of the partners from Latin America, from Turkey, from Europe, from North America. And there's been so much progress on so many fronts. And I cannot wait to share all of those news with you. But some of them I still have to kind of, do the cliffhanger thing because we can't quite talk about those things before we, really finalize those integrations or finalize some implementations or sign up partners. So, well, basically, I just don't want to lie. There you go. Yeah, lying is bad. Don't lie, guys. So, a lot of interesting things that we're working on. And some of them will be live very, very soon. And that's exciting. And you guys are the ones who make all of those things happen and who people who supported us all of this time. Sorry, I have a lot of questions already coming in all sorts of different chats that I will be monitoring. So we have about 20 questions today. But guys, if you want to do it in a live mode, if you're watching it right now, please go to our Winding Tree Telegram channel, which is basically @windingtree, Telegram, blah, 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 something, /@windingtree. And I will be monitoring that channel. And I will, of course, if the questions are cool, I will read them from the chat as well. But we have collected quite a few questions from our community, which I'm going to start with in just a second. Well, another thing that I wanted to mention that we have completed a very, very interesting integration that we're going to be announcing officially very soon, and we're working on kind of like the official announcement, press release, and all that good stuff. But if you go to glider.travel right now, you will see that there's quite a few flights available there that's going through the Winding Tree platform. So check it out. So as you know, on glider.travel, we only had a couple of airlines before, but now there's quite a bit. And it's a fully functional travel agency, which you can use for your own needs. And please give us feedback. Go to glider.travel, look up your favorite destinations and whatever, and try to compare it with other providers of that information. And please do contact me if you find cheap prices, super expensive, nonsensical prices, all of that stuff. Please do contact me at max@windingtree.com, and I promise I will be answering all of your emails, which I did last time. So I'm inbox 0 right now. I'm very happy about this. Or of course you can ask a question in our Telegram chat if it's easier. Another interesting development is that Uniswap is finally merging our pull request. And what does it mean? Well, it means that all of those things, all of those errors that you guys were seeing on things like CoinGecko, I think, and Etherscan, even maybe, or Uniswap, where things were displaying incorrectly. So that's gonna be fixed very soon. I think how it works is they merge the pull request. That's a open source methodology thing, merging pull requests and stuff. So just never mind. But after the pull request is merged, I think it takes a couple more weeks. So we'll see. But that's fixed. That's interesting stuff. We are going to be participating at a few different events. And if we have Pedro here on the phone, he will talk a little bit about those events. And I am going to be participating this week on Thursday, November the 5th, at this event that's called Host. And if you go to Host, if you Google Host 2020, then you will find a website with my pretty face on there. I don't even know how to, okay, there you go. Host 2020, and the website is terrapin.com. I'm just going to just put it into our Telegram chat, I guess. I'll look it up. Okay, back here. Pedro, are you with us? Pedro is not with us magically. I don't know what's happening there, but I guess he had some troubles connecting. But Pedro, if you go to windingtree.com, we have listed all the different events that we're speaking at. So there's a lot of activity happening, and it looks like travel industry is experiencing a second wave. Well, the first wave was started by us, and this is the second wave, which is us again, and a few other cool projects, by the way. But yeah, there's a lot more interest in blockchain projects in the travel space. And so, yeah, we're talking about our stuff, which is very exciting and amazing. Guys, we're fixing constantly and putting out new features. And of course, that would take a lot of time if I were to mention all of them. So how about we'll just jump over to the questions, if you don't mind. And if you mind, max@windingtree.com, Telegram chat, whatever you want. Talk to us, guys. All right. So there is a question from Stefan. He's saying, what is your view on decentralized exchanges after pending issues with IDEX? I'm interested how you assess or judge to not being able to influence them as a small project. Well, guys, this is ridiculous. If it's a decentralized exchange, how can anyone delist anyone on a decentralized exchange? It's nonsensical, right? So we created blockchain for that particular reason, so that anyone should be able to access Bitcoin. No one should be able to, take your Bitcoin away from you and stuff like that. So Bitcoin was created so that we can find centralization. And unfortunately, and I guess we got to experience that on our own skin, that no, IDEX is not a decentralized exchange. So we cannot call it decentralized exchanges. They are very much centralized. And their practice is right now, hey, we delisted you, but we can list you again. Here's the price. Not cool, guys. Not cool at all. I think there is a bit of backlash from other projects as well against this decisions, but it's just ridiculous. Hey, I'm going to delist you, and well, if you want to get listed again, well, pay this amount of money. Well, and then guess what? I'm going to delist you again, and well, request money from you again. This is like, it could be a never-ending story. We do have a price quote from them. We are looking at it, and we'll keep you posted about our conversations with this decentralized exchanges. Question number 2 from the same person, Stefan. Thank you for being so prolific. Have you considered getting in touch with Asian hotels and airlines to present your solution? Usually they adopt new tech pretty fast and are able to scale. We are in talks with some partners in China and in Asia in general. So, and Pedro, if he didn't have connection issues, I don't know why he's not here, could share a little more information with you guys about it. But we're definitely talking to some partners in Asia. The question is yes, we have considered getting in touch with those Asian hotels and airlines. The next question comes from a funky group of people. Yeah, there's a whole gang. Benjamin, Bernard, Mark. Can you shed some light on how Winding Tree is promoting itself in the travel industry? Timelines for expectations. The crypto scene is driven by hype marketing, and it's hard as an investor to see Winding Tree not engage in that to get a return. How Winding Tree markets itself to generate demand for its technology. There has been a slowdown of new organizations joining. Why is this? So guys, where to start? There are so many questions. So in terms of promoting ourselves in the travel industry, I just mentioned those events that we're attending. We are talking to an insane amount of travel companies all the time. Travel agencies, hotels, airlines, insurance providers, all sorts of companies like that, right? Generally, the problem that we have in the travel industry, and well, this is an honest feedback to any travel company that's been looking at Winding Tree. Generally, we talk to them and we're saying, hey, you have to use blockchain and this little piece of technology, and you have to have an API. And very often, more often than I wish, they say, AP, what? This is, of course, an oversimplification. Many companies, for so many reasons, and hotels that we've been talking to for a long time, they cannot provide an API for direct bookings on Winding Tree because they really don't know how. They have to contact their property management system provider, and it's just a complicated problem. And so we have two-pronged approach, as I call it here. So on one hand, we're talking to large companies, right? So really, really big companies that spend millions and in some cases billions of dollars on travel. And we're telling them, hey guys, through Winding Tree, you can access inventory directly from suppliers. So that's going to be cheaper for you. The data flows will be simplified. You'll get a lot more information about what's happening in terms of your corporate travel, stuff like that. And on another hand, we're talking to a bunch of small companies. And by talking, I mean, we have to reach out to them somehow, right? So let's say you have thousands and thousands and thousands of hotels, and obviously you can't talk to them one by one to set them up with Winding Tree, with an API and stuff like that. And that's why we're working on an open source solution for those hotels that we are planning to launch this year still, or very early next year, which we're going to provide, for example, to those hotels, so that out of the box with that software, they have an API that's connected directly to Winding Tree, so that any travel agency that is verified on the Winding Tree platform can pull inventory from those data sources. So that's one of the projects, right? Two-pronged approach, big companies and the long tail. It's not easy sitting in marketplace. Usually there's this chicken and egg problem and stuff like that. Timelines for expectations. So which expectations are we talking about? Be more concrete, guys. Yeah, a lot of stuff. And we constantly talk about our roadmap, our ideas when we're going to be signing up and releasing new partners, which, every month I'm trying to update you about. And next AMA in December, I think, is going to be a lot of new updates about partners. Yeah, so you can look up a winding tree on LinkedIn, on Twitter, look things up on our website. There's, again, all those events that we speak at, all of those partners that we're talking to. And the slowdown of or new organizations joining. So we're working, guys, we're working on a new sign up flow. There are quite a few improvements that we're doing to the actual winding tree marketplace right now. So when that's done, and that should be done this week, as I understand, I was just talking to our engineers. And after that, there will be a new explainer, new video about the sign up, like a lot of new stuff happening. So when that is done, we'll be promoting Marketplace more heavily. So that's, I guess, why right now we're not concentrating on promotion solely. You have to build things too. A lot of questions from you guys. And the next question comes from David. Can you talk about the benefit of all the event promotions you do? Mostly, I want to understand how this works in the travel industry, as you never see other companies like Travelport or channel managers engaging in typical marketing to drive awareness of their services. So the question is about the events that we're speaking at, and I'm just trying to understand the question. Or channel manager engaging in typical marketing to drive awareness of their services. You know, I really do not follow Travelport or channel managers and their PR and marketing campaigns, and I guess they have their own reasons to do or not do certain PR stunts or marketing things. That's their thing. We do have a strategy around, promoting what we do in terms of, again, PR and marketing and stuff like that. And through those events. So Pedro, I think, very, very simple example. Pedro was attending one of the events a couple of weeks ago, and then this tourism board of a European country reached out to Pedro because they saw him at that event, and we got to talk and discuss, what the opportunities and possibilities are. That's how it works. That's the benefit of those things. You have to show up. Who said that? Yeah, one of the movie directors. Anyway. So 80% of success is just showing up. So we have to show up and talk about blockchain and travel, and tell people about what they can do with that. So we're trying to show up. Number 5 from Perth. Will Winding Tree make a decentralized app network for businesses to build on the way no API is needed? Guys, come on, let's get our stuff together, right? For such a long time, at least since 2014, that's when I really started working on startups and applications in the travel space. Everywhere, any travel event I go to, everyone is complaining about how travel is 10 years behind in terms of technology. All right, we're saying, let's fix it. Let's bring technology let's upgrade it. And we're talking to a lot of people, and they're telling us, we're so tired of doing things the old way. There's so many intermediaries and inefficiencies and all of this like legacy software that runs on mainframes. How can we do things in a new way, better, cheaper, and stuff like that? And we're telling them, hey, here you go. This is how you do it. And their response is, oh no, this is too new. This is too, this kind of like, why can't it look like, the old thing? What do you guys want? The old thing when there's no API needed, or things that are working and there are no intermediaries? Just choose one or the other. Just make up your mind. No API needed means that you deferred your technical abilities to some other company who at the end will say, okay, they know nothing. So we're going to tell them to pay us 20% transaction fee. And that's what's happening right now. In airline industry, in the hotel industry, that's what happened. A bunch of airlines decided, hey, let's delegate all of our technology needs and requests to a separate company that will help us all. They did that. Now they're complaining that the company abuses its power. Well, precisely because you gave up that power. Don't give up that power. Technology is your power. You have to be a technology company. It's 2020, for God's sake. All right. Sorry for cursing, but really, it gets me wound up sometimes. Having an API is not rocket science. If we're talking about hotels in this particular example, I mentioned it several times, we're building an open source tool for hotels that will have a built-in API that will be connected to Winding Tree out of the box. Yes, you need an API. Without that, how are you going to do things on the internet if you have no connectivity? Will Winding Tree create a decentralized application network for businesses to build on? It's already there. You literally, right now, as we speak, you can go to developers.windingtree.com and see how things could work for you. And we're already talking to businesses, big and small, and we're providing them with solutions. They're building on top of Winding Tree right now. So it's already possible that you don't have to wait anymore. If it's not clear to you, and perhaps it's our fault that we don't describe things well enough in our developer documentation and our PR and marketing and whatever, all the other activities that we do online, that's not clear. Send me an email. It's max@windingtree.com. That should be clear. That should be probably on the screen with big letters right now. Let's do it, guys. Talk to me. Talk to us. You need an API. Next question. Number 6 is from Shelly. So will Winding Tree return to IDEX? IDEX, I don't know. Or a different exchange, perhaps. Their plans to be layer 2 friendly seem promising. If they were truly decentralized, that would be a no-brainer. With their strategy right now to extract money from projects, I don't know, something to talk about and decide. Again, there is a potential that IDEX in a couple months, they're going to say, oh, we're going to delist you again for whatever reason. Yes, totally decentralized. We cannot do anything but delist you maybe and then charge you money. Anyway, next question. Annette, what happened to your big airline partners like Etihad or Lufthansa? Are you still collaborating? What can you say in general about your current engagements with airline companies, not hotels? Well, one thing, go to glider.travel. Check it out. Try to find flights from wherever you live to your favorite destination. See what happens. And if you have questions, you know my email. It's max@windingtree.com. But we have a great, of course, connection with this is my favorite airline so far, Air Canada. Have you ever guys flown with Air Canada or not? Let me know. Email, Telegram. Oh, this is going to be on YouTube, right? So leave a comment, and we'll make sure to respond to all those comments as well. There you go. Talking to quite a few airlines. Air Canada is amazing. Lufthansa, they closed down their Frankfurt office altogether. That was their headquarters. I don't know where they're going or what exactly is happening with Lufthansa. I must say that the communication is sparse right now. And as you may or may not know, due to this pesky virus, airlines are not going through a very good time right now. So it's hard for them. Nonetheless, some of them are super forward-looking, very excited about our collaboration and working with us full speed. Things are yet to be announced. If Pedro was here. Next question from Dino. Are you going to implement any kind of small percentage distributions of total transacted revenue to active platform users? This is an interesting question. So basically, if I paraphrase it, there is a potential for us to divert the percentage of the revenue that we're planning to make off of transactions on the Winding Tree marketplace into a separate small fund that then will be distributed amongst the active platform users. And the question is, are we going to implement it? We have ideas about it. And I discussed it a few times with all sorts of different smart people out there. Hey, people in Kiev, Ukraine. It's a great idea. It's a good idea. I would really consider it. But it's on our idea list, not on the roadmap yet. Next question is, what is the incentive to use your marketplace if sellers don't get a percentage of the transaction on their inventory? Some competitors seem to offer this. What is the benefit of your model versus this revenue sharing standard? This question seems, I heard this argument from people in travel. I have, again, when I was at travel conferences and stuff like that. So basically, to those, for those of you who don't maybe know about this scheme, so basically, let's say there's a GDS or an OTA, or basically a big transnational company, the intermediary type of thing. And then there's a supplier, let's say a hotel. And this company sells this hotel's inventory, there's rooms. So it basically helps the hotel to have customers. And then they send a certain amount of the transaction value back to the hotel. So the question here is that if we do not offer that, if Winding Tree, and well, first of all, Winding Tree is completely decentralized. We cannot decide whether, like, we don't sell stuff for people, right? We're telling those hotels, hey, if you have an API, you can be on this marketplace so that others can, other OTAs can connect to your inventory and help you to drive transactions and revenue and stuff like that. So Winding Tree, first of all, is completely out of this question. Like we're not in the middle of that transaction. We aren't, right? But when I talk to travel people at this conference, it seems to me that this question is rather silly, because if this company is sending some amount of money back to the supplier, well, they first had to take that money from the hotel, and the hotels are paying up to 20% commission fees to those big companies that do distribution for them. So the question is here, or the reality is, there was a transaction, there was a customer that booked a room at this hotel through this intermediary. The hotel had to send 20%, 10, 15, 20, up to 20%. Sometimes someone said 25, I don't know. The hotel had to send this commission to the intermediary, and then this company sent a chunk of that, a small chunk of that, back to the hotel. You see the problem, right? We're not taking that original gigantic commission And therefore, we do not send the smaller chunk of that commission back to the hotel. Like, that's it. The hotel gets to save, the customer gets to save. Everybody wins in this kind of situation, in this kind of setup. So why do we have to send money back? And how is this an incentive for the hotel if they got robbed and then someone gave them $5 back out of their wallet? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Let me know if it makes sense to you. Maybe there is some amazing obscure reason for doing this in the trial space like that, but I really, it's kind of silly. No, let me know. Comments, email, Telegram. You got it. All right, next question is from Sasha. What are your main goals for the remainder of the year? How do you realistically hope to close out the year for Winding Tree? So year end is kind of a funky, arbitrary line, right? So like, you have to finish something by the end of the year or something like that. It is artificial. It is arbitrary. Why does it have to be December 31st or January 1st? So we are solving things and achieving things all the time. As I mentioned in the beginning, there's a lot of stuff happening for Winding Tree. So exciting things, exciting opportunities. The product is coming along pretty strong. So we'll keep. We wish that happened by the end of this year. I mean, it's all about really making things work. And I mentioned the two-pronged strategy about big companies and small companies. I really wish this year, and I think it's doable. We have 2 months. I wish we released this open source software for hotels that I was talking about, and I wish one of those big accounts, big companies that we're talking about, I wish we close it by the end of this year. And realistic, doable, we're working on it. Next question is from Fabian. All right, Fabian, you had asked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. I think it's 1 question per person, guys. Seriously, I mean, oh wow. All right. When expect to see new inventory on the platform? Go to glider.trial right now, check it out. Mainnet launched a few months ago, but the platform is still very thin. Elaborate. What does it mean, thin? Not a lot of companies on there, not a lot of features. It's not usable. Be a little bit more concrete with your criticism. Don't be afraid. That was 1 question, by the way, which was actually 2. So this guy is asking 6 questions at the same time. Good job, man. At what point do you think you will start a more heavy marketing approach? What does that look like from your end? That is a really, really good question. And as far as I understand, our marketing team, they have a strategy about this. We have to have an absolutely unbeatable combination of software, partners, promotions, and stuff like that. So that's going to be our approach. And when this happens, when we have perhaps a critical mass on the platform, a critical number of companies, perhaps that would be the right time. We're working on it. All right, next question, still from Fabian. Where is staking with Live at? Will companies be able to do that soon? This week, we're finishing that feature. This week, I promise you. Next week, it's going to be, so this week we're QAing it. It's on staging, and we're going through things. We will have to do live testing with that feature, because if you, I don't know how much you know about Live staking, but basically it's going to be used for verifying the truthfulness of information that's provided by companies that join the platform. And we're using Kleros or Kleros. Go to kleros.io to check out that project. So we're using their smart contracts, and they helped us with actually building our smart contract that's going to be connected there to whatever the software that they run and their smart contracts. But basically, the idea is that there are certain periods, right? So let's say you submit an application, you're saying, hey, guys, I'm a hotel, I swear. And there is a 1 week waiting period, and we're going to be testing those things live. So that's going to take some time because of those waiting periods. And so this week that feature is ready. Next week, we're going to be starting to test it in production, and then we'll see what's happening. But as long as we have it in production, you will see things happening over there. So that's for lift staking. It's very exciting news. I'm super excited. With a second spike and a third at some point as well. What does it mean? Second spike. Okay, they're talking about the second wave, for sure. So, guys, I'm reading things on the internet about travel, about projections. IATA, I think they're saying that travel will go back to normal by 2024, 2025. So, yeah, we will have reduced travel numbers for quite some time. I'm not too worried about this, because for us, I think it's a really, really good time in the sense that travel numbers are low. Companies really, well, if they're not busy doing something with travelers and selling their stuff, they should use that time to address their infrastructural problems, all of those inefficiencies that we've been pointing out for years now, right? And that's our pitch to them. Okay, so you don't have guests at your hotel right now. Well, that sucks. But what you can do right now is to work on your infrastructure. Do you want to keep paying up to 20-25% commission fees to the distributors that you are working with right now? No? All right, let's make it happen. Here's how you do it. That's our approach to airlines and hotels and all sorts of other companies. Same goes for OTAs. Yes, you don't have customers right now. How can you improve your operations? What can you do right now to make sure that you are going to come out victorious by the end of the year 2024 or 25? We don't know how long this is going to take, really. There's so many unknowns, and I know that people are, it's a problem. But maybe not. If you use this time in a smart way, maybe it's not a problem. Maybe if this is a blessing, maybe this will open your eyes. Maybe some companies that are really inefficient, maybe they will die, but new companies will sprung up. And guess what? Will those new companies that will appear during this crisis? Crisis is a time for opportunity, for building. Do you think those new companies will be using the outdated infrastructure based on mainframes? I don't think so. Come on, people. This is 2020. Let's change things up a little bit. Where do you see WindingTree in the next 1-2 years? What will be different? This is really such a strange question and vague question that I can hope that we will achieve certain things, but planning is guessing. Planning is guessing. We can plan for the next 2-3 months. We don't know what's going to happen with Corona. It's really hard. It's really hard to say. I could tell you about my aspirations with WindingTree. Will it be a plan? No, it's going to be a guess, and a hopeful guess at that. Yeah. Mohammed is asking, does GDPR impact what WindingTree does at all? Will Glider have store consumer data? So let's put those two things apart. WindingTree is based on this technology that we call org ID, which is basically a decentralized identity based on an Ethereum smart contract. No user data whatsoever goes through that contract at all. No traveler's data, rather, right? The only data that will be stored with the help of that smart contract is supposed to be public anyway, right? So you are telling other people, other companies on the marketplace about your company. Hey, I am company such and such. I'm registered here and here. Here's my API for booking, right? That information must be public anyway. So GDPR does not concern us at all in this regard, right? And again, if you're planning to create a Winding Tree account on the Winding Tree marketplace, do not put personal information on there. It's not designed to do that. All the information that you put out there is public. Then on the Winding Tree marketplace, there will be two companies, a supplier and a buyer of the supplier's inventory, right? They connect directly. Winding Tree smart contract, the ORG-ID smart contract, only provides identity, company identity information to these two parties so that they know who they're talking to. The information between these two guys, let's say the information about the traveler that comes from the OTA and goes to the supplier system, does not go through Winding Tree at all. So GDPR does not concern us in this particular case at all either. Glider, although, is a separate thing, right? So we built Glider and we had to register a separate legal entity for Glider because we wanted to show what is Glider. Glider as a product is us creating the first open source travel agency. The travel agency, an online travel agency with open source code, right? Which we did because we wanted to show to the distributor part of the marketplace, to companies who will be buying stuff from suppliers, hey, this is how easy it could be if you actually use technology, if you try to use technology. And even if you don't have a lot of resources to hire an engineering team, no worries. Here's the open source code that you can take and use for free, no strings attached. If you're a techie, if you're a travel tech professional, go to our GitHub, check out Glider source code. We've released a whole bunch of stuff there. We're normalizing a bunch of different APIs. That's what some other companies that are in the space, they charge you an arm and a leg to do that, to normalize NDC APIs. It's available for free in an open source form right now. Why did we do that? We want people to start using Winding Tree. We want Winding Tree to be an open technology. So Glider, as a fully functional travel agency, does store consumer data. It's a travel agency after all, right? So we have to provide that information. Or again, that separate entity, that's just an example of how things could be done in Winding Tree. Of course, they store consumer data. It's a travel agency. Any travel agency that will be buying something from supplier, communicating with a customer, taking a credit card payment from the customer, of course, you have to store consumer data. GDPR does apply to Glider. Glider is an example, although right now, and there are some things, and we have started testing it in live mode, and we have a few transactions going on through Glider right now, and GDPR policy and other types of policies. There's privacy policy that we need to fix on Glider. There's terms and conditions, and all of that legal stuff must be there, and that's a work in progress project. From Neil. It seems like the future of travel is going to be more integrated with government bodies as they bail out travel companies due to coronavirus. Does Winding Tree have a strategy to approach governments to bring its services to more travel companies? Neil, this is such a brilliant idea. It's so good. We should talk to them. Can you help us? talk to me. It's max@windingtree.com. Send me a message if you are doing something in that area. We do have, again, OrgID is an open source technology, and we do have some conversations with EU, with the EU, with some different EU government bodies, in order to create business registries on top of the technology that we're providing and stuff like that. But we should talk to the governments and make travel cheaper and easier for them. Awesome job, Neil. From Eliza, what kind of results do you look for after speaking at an event to determine what's successful for Winding Tree or not? Great question. I think I touched upon it a little bit earlier when I talked about, so we go to a bunch of different events. Sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. When we get to talk to a few interested parties after the conference, after the event, it's amazing. Sometimes, hey, that was a wrong type of audience and not quite the right type of event, but 80% of success is just showing up. It's just like you have to show up. You have to be out there. Applies to all sorts of walks of life, guys. Nicola is asking, could you comment on why the travel industry moves so slowly? Can you share an example on why it might take an airline so long to get connected to Winding Tree? This is the question that I'm asking myself all the time. And the answer is that there are so many variables and so many intermediaries. Like you go to, I don't know what, Kayak today or Google Flights or stuff. There's like probably 20 different companies that involved in that one single transaction. Starting from the ad that maybe you clicked on Google somewhere and ending with the actual airline, right? And in order to change those flows or to change the flow, well, you have to remove some companies, convince them to change their ways and stuff like that. So now airlines are trying this new approach that's called NDC, or new distribution capability, which IATA, the International Aviation Transportation Agency, has designed. But the problem is it's not a standard, it's just a recommendation, right? So they try to promote it as a standard, it's not. And that's the problem. Why is travel industry moving so slowly? Is there are no standards, and there are only data silos and crutches everywhere, and mainframe computers, cranking your information and storing it in all sorts of outdated ways. It's incredible. We keep showing that screen from, I think that the article I posted into 216 was like the screenshot was I think it was Sabre GDS terminal. Like it's literally 3-letter commands that you have to type to do stuff to issue an airline ticket. It's insane, right? We have to depart from that already, and we have this NDC thing which we have to fix. It's a lot of stuff. It's really, really hard. There, again, as we said, there are some airlines that are very forward-looking, that they're implementing things themselves, getting the hang of the technology, and they understand and realize that things can be done in such a beautifully simple and streamlined way. It can be done. Again, if you're from airline and if you're listening to this, well, reach out to us, reach out to me and talk to us. We'll explain how things could be. Let's do it. Adrian is interested in why it is difficult to get images for hotels or similar property-based images. Where does Winding Tree store that data once we have it? Adrian is adding that he's just now realizing that you would potentially have to have millions of images for those hotels. This seems like a sophisticated problem, but nonetheless, the problem that we have to solve. Really, like one of the beautiful examples of inefficiency in the travel space is that, well, apparently you have to have a separate company that stores hotel images. And yes, you are connected perhaps to a company that has a booking API, so you can access thousands of hotels. But the images that they have are 100 by 100 pixels. So you can barely see things on those images. So you don't know. Images is what sells. Go to Airbnb, go to, I don't know, Google Maps or something like that. It's a beautiful image that will convince you to book a certain property. How come, how on earth this is reality? I don't know. It's just legacy systems. Why on earth would you provide today a 100 by 100 pixel image of a hotel? We have to solve it. I don't know. We have ideas, ideas that I'm afraid would be very, very alien to hotels, because they're like, oh, it's not a problem. Yeah, you guys go figure it out. Interesting problem. If you guys have any ideas about how to solve this. And then we brainstormed about how we could have all of those images stored on IPFS, and each image has its own unique hash. And while the hotel should be able to control all of their images all the time, no one else should be able to control it. So there is, again, the winding tree identity, the org ID identity is involved there. Beautiful, beautiful system that we have planned for this. I'm afraid that the system that when we bring it to hotels, they're going to say, what? How, can we do it without an API? Can we do it without doing anything? No, you have to do something to do something. As weird as it sounds. There's a question from Maria. What is your biggest win between now and the last AMA? Maria, go to glider.travel. Try to book an airline ticket. Check it out. Luca is asking, I wonder if that's Luca that I know. Luca, hi Luca. If you're the person that I know, and still hi Luca if I don't know you. What is the biggest obstacle you face as a remote team? Does it slow things down? How does Winding Tree deal with this? I'd love to hear your thoughts. It's something we all deal with now. That's actually, you know, it's a pro, it's a benefit, because we've been a remote team all these years. So the pandemic hasn't changed a lot for us. Like, it's not an obstacle. It's not something that we had to hectically reorganize and figure out how we're going to do this. No, it's like nothing, literally nothing changed in our process. So while other companies, you know, their CEOs were losing hair over this, it's a different approach. I mean, there's so many companies out there that work remotely, like they're remote by design. And probably one of the most famous of them is Mozilla. Mozilla is remote. I mean, obviously they have offices in like San Francisco or something, but a good chunk of their team is completely remote. It's a different approach. There are pros and cons. Does it slow things down? Maybe there is an element of like, you cannot tap someone on the shoulder and like, hey, I need your advice right now. But on the other hand, it's maybe not very productive to do that all the time, you know, because the guy, the engineer, the manager, they get distracted from what they're doing. So basically they cannot set their own boundaries of, you know, when they want to communicate. And of course, we are using all of those tools for remote work. We're on Slack, we are on Telegram, where it's, you know, it's working fine. And the benefit of being remote is it's the best thing. And I still don't get why San Francisco companies are like, no, we're only hiring in San Francisco. Well, obviously, there's a very limited pool of people who are in San Francisco. Obviously, they're insanely expensive, and we can hire anywhere. We're totally fine. We get to save a lot, and we can find brilliant people who, for whatever reason, whether it's family reasons or something else, they're not in San Francisco or wherever I am, right? So with remote work, you expand the potential pool of your employees quite a lot. And this is my favorite part about being remote. You get to work with really, really awesome people, and not the engineering rock stars from San Francisco. Hey guys, miss you all. Michael, how many people are on the team and still working on the project? Such a good question, Michael. Every day and every call. Well, not every call, but our all hands call is 10 people right now. We have a few advisors. We have a few people who are working part-time who are not joining the call. With those, we could get to maybe 60. But 10 people are present all the time. Enzo is inquiring, what is the main advantage that an OTA that's using Winding Tree has over Booking.com? Wait, what? What is the main advantage of an OTA that would connect to suppliers through Winding Tree versus connecting through Booking.com? That's, I think, what Enzo is trying to ask. Brilliant question. This is something that we have to explain all the time. All right. So what is the benefit here? Well, the easy answer and kind of like an overarching answer for this is you connect directly to the supplier. Well, you're going to say, so what is the benefit of me connecting to the supplier directly? And well, it should be logical from here that, well, if you connect directly, you don't have, slew of other companies that are sitting in between, usually, of all those transactions. Like you go to Booking.com, you're using like a channel manager, you're using property management system, you're using a lot of those things. With Winding Tree, you truly have the potential to connect directly. Not all the time. Sometimes a hotel will still be using a property management system. A hotel will still be probably using a channel manager, or there could be like a travel management company or something like that in between. But what we're trying to do here is we're saying, okay, you get to connect directly, or you get to minimize the number of companies in between. So first of all, of course, you're not paying the crazy commission fee that big OTAs and GDSs are enforcing on you. And well, secondly, and it's very important, secondly, the flow, we improve the flow of data, right? So one of the biggest problem right now, apparently, not right now, for the past, I don't know how many years in the travel space, is that you do not, as a supplier, for example, you do not even get the email or contact details of your guests sometimes, because that data goes through like one standard, then gets converted to another standard, then it gets, I don't know, trimmed over here and changed over here. And at the end, you're just like, hey, someone's trying to book something at your hotel or whatever. We're fixing that as well. We're saying, especially with our Direct Connect tool that, I keep talking about this, but with that tool, you have full control of your customer, you have full control of your data. And that's another concern, for example, that hotels in particular have with those big OTAs like Booking.com, that you literally lose your face, you lose your branding. The customer is Booking.com customer and not your amazing boutique Prague hotel customer. You know what I mean? Like who, and there's a battle right now of who owns the customer. I don't know if it's still like a relevant thing, but the question is still stands. Who owns the customer? And the OTA says, no, we own the customer. No, no one owns the customer. The customer owns himself. He should be, or she should be their own person. But if they are going to a hotel, they're a customer of that hotel. What you as an OTA has provided, the list of things, the list of hotels that I can book. And if I'm a customer of airline, I am a customer of that airline, then they should serve me. But like, why do I have to? In some cases, I have to go through the OTA that I booked the airline ticket with in order to reach some sort of customer support and complain about something that the airline did. Like, why? Why can't I talk directly to the airline? But in some cases I can, because I don't even have the right, I don't know, e-ticket number or something like that, because that's a custom e-ticket number from the travel agency. So crazy things like that. So I think direct is better. It's awesome. It's cheaper, faster, there's more information. You get to keep your relationship with your customer. If you're a supplier, as a customer, you get to talk directly to people that sell things to you. It's awesome. It's cool. You try, guys. And I think this is the last question, and we are a little bit over time, but that's fine. Derek is asking, why climate change being what it is and the travel industry contributing to it the way that it does? All right, so let me rephrase that question a little bit. Sometimes it gets confusing. Okay, so the question is, do we have a plan to provide some sort of solution where travel agencies could take, I guess, a percentage of the commission that they're charging and offset the carbon footprint of the travelers for each booking? Winding Tree is a decentralized platform. We just connect buyers and sellers. We simply cannot dictate anything here. That they have to do something to set the carbon footprint. This is a big problem. Climate change is a big problem. It is. But Winding Tree is not a government body. And the best we can do here is really educate people. It's interesting. Perhaps it would be a little controversial, but with a lot less travel that's happening right now, and a lot less of mindless travel, like a travel, when people travel for like, oh, the selfie with the Eiffel Tower, and that's it, without really immersing themselves in the culture of, I don't know, Paris in this particular case, right, or France, or less of that travel, and it's already reduced. Kind of makes me a little happy, a little bit conflicted in this particular case, that of course a lot of people are suffering because of that, because they cannot travel and perhaps visit their family or friends or something like that, or people who truly really want to experience the culture of those places that they go to. Can we dictate something? Like, no, you cannot travel for this reason, you can only travel for that reason. By the way, do not forget to set your carbon footprint and stuff like that. This is a planet-wide problem, truly, and we all have to work together. And you know, we can do all sorts of different things on a personal level, but I'm afraid this not even be effective. Let's say you had the ability to dictate this carbon footprint offsetting, right? You say, okay, so 1% of whatever you book will go to some sort of climate change fund or something, right? So guess what? Your competitor who doesn't do that, now they have cheaper prices, so your customers will live for that guy. It's complicated question. No easy answer. Wow, this is such a deep and profound question. That is the last question for today. Interesting. I hope at least that question from Derek will make you guys think about this kind of problem. And if you have any suggestions and solutions here, maybe we could, maybe I don't know how to do it yet, but maybe you could suggest what Winding Tree could do in this particular case. So if you do that, please go to our Telegram chat, send me an email, maxwindingtree.com, or comment on YouTube if you're watching it on YouTube, and we'll get to it. Are all companies listed on Glider travel partners of Winding Tree? No, not all of them are partners from Winding Tree. Some of the content that's on Glider right now we get through our other partners who are our partners. So Chris, Glider is an example. Chris is asking on Telegram. So it means Glider is not decentralized and there's commission? Yes, Chris. So Glider is an example of how a travel agency could source inventory through the Winding Tree platform, right? So Glider is not the business we want to have, is not the business. Theoretically, it's possible in the future, why not? But we created Glider in order to show to online travel agencies, hey, this is how you do it on Winding Tree. So easy, go do it right now. Here's the source code. Do you want us to consult you? Okay, no problem. Let's do it, right? So that's why we created Glider. Yes, Glider is not decentralized, and there's commission, there's credit card fee, there's all it's fully functional travel agency. What can I say? What can I say more about that? I cannot. Apart from it's awesome. Go check it out. Glider.travel. All right, so there's, Christian. Steve said something about CO2 and WT. Steve, like Steve Jobs? I don't know, Christian, what are you talking about? Please clarify. I don't know, Steve. Guys, checking my email. Okay, no one sent me anything on the email yet, and I guess YouTube comments will come after this gets published. So guys, it was an awesome call. And I'm just looking at some comments my team is posting on our Slack. All right. So apparently there was a comment from Steve on our chat. Okay. Steve is asking in our chat, I somehow missed it, I don't know. When companies would save more money when they cut out the middleman, people can still enjoy a good price and spend money for CO2 compensation. Well, there you go. It's a really good comment in the vein of that CO2 contribution to the world CO2 footprint, I guess. So again, hopefully when people get to compare, oh, here I'm paying, $50 less than with this company. Well, I'm feeling generous that I saved $50 now. So I don't know, $10 I'm going to donate to this separate fund. Or do something else that's nice for the world, for the community where they live in, or for the community where they're going. Well, imagine just the gravity of this problem. Think about a country where, and there's a whole bunch of countries that depend on tourism, countries that right now are suffering badly from lack of tourism, right? But imagine that a year ago, those countries and whole communities were paying up to 20% tribute to multinational corporation, 20% tax that a completely foreign entity was able to impose onto them. It's insane to me, insane. And that's the amount of money that the traveler could save, come to that community, spend it there, support the local suppliers, support the local artisans and food makers and just people. So that's what should be happening. And Winding Tree, so far, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, so far is the only project that is trying to truly make that happen, to remove that tax, to remove that tribute that companies, travel companies up until now had to pay. Well, you don't anymore. You don't. You can do things peer-to-peer, and hopefully by the end of this crisis, if you're forward-looking company, you will emerge victorious, and you will emerge in a completely new way, and you will not have to pay that 20% tribute to those intermediaries that you were paying all this time. All right, guys, I think this was the last question. Contact me. As usual, it's maxwindingtree.com. Comment, leave a comment on Telegram, leave a comment on the YouTube video here in the comments, and stay tuned. Keep in touch. And a lot of stuff to do, exciting times, but still a lot of stuff to do. But we'll figure it out, guys. I'm super excited about all the progress that we're making, and it's going to be awesome. So this year is going super strong for us. Weirdly enough, super strong. And I'm so stoked about this year. All right. Talk to you guys later. Thank you so much.